I came to this conclusion. Every idea goes through 4 steps. Step number 1, it's not true. And they will say that about you. I say, that's not true. You can't do that. That's not legal. That's not possible. You can't do that. They always do that. They did that when the telephone came out. That's not true. On a wire, you're saying a voice goes on a wire, and then, yes, I went to the Chicago World's Fair, and they got, that's a con. They got it figured out. What did you say on the phone? No, I said her name, and it was on a wire. That's not true. So the first reaction to any good or any new idea is it's not true. The second phase of any new idea is it's true, but so what? It's irrelevant. So what are they going to do? Run a wire from New York to Chicago? And if they did run a wire from New York to Chicago, who gets to talk on it? The mayor of Chicago to the mayor of New York and says, hi, how you doing over there? Well, it's real hot in Chicago. Well, it's kind of hot in New York. I mean, it's irrelevant. I mean, what would the chief of police will get on? Hey, we got a guy in a blue shirt heading towards Chicago. What are they going to do? Run a wire from New York to California? What if a cow in Kansas eats the wire? Can you imagine the legal ramifications of running a wire from New York to California? What if some farmer says, no, I'm not signing. I don't care. I'm not signing. I mean, how are they going to get the wire there? What are they going to do? Put it up on little poles? Go all the way across the country? Are they going to have little wires going into everybody's houses? I mean, billions of dollars. We're talking about billions of dollars. It ain't going to happen. So at the Chicago World's Fair, you talked on a wire to somebody. Doesn't mean it means a thing to me. Phase 2 of any new idea. It's true, but so what? It's irrelevant. When the ballpoint pen came out, that was a disaster. The ballpoint pen was a disaster. Some of you have those in your pocketbooks and purses. They didn't allow a ballpoint pen in the classroom. A teacher would say, if you write your essay in a ballpoint pen, I will throw it away, because ballpoint pens were pretty filthy things, pretty immoral to you. You had a little desk and you had a hole for the fountain to go in it. I only accept essays and fountain pen. The FBI issued a warning about ballpoint pens. Banks would not accept a check that was signed with a ballpoint pen. Had to be a fountain pen. Because forgers, there was a big increase of forgery, or they thought there would be, because a forger can take his thumb and lift your signature off a check if it's written with a ballpoint pen. So there's going to be a rash of forgeries, you watch. So the ballpoint pen was a horrible thing, and a weapon, if you've seen any good movies. So it's phase 2. First, it's not true. 2, so what? It's irrelevant. And number 3, it's wrong. It's wrong. It's bad. Any new idea is bad. The telephone was bad, television bad, now the internet's really bad. Everything's bad. If it's new, it's bad. If the product's out, it's bad. That's illegal. That's wrong. That's immoral. What you're doing is wrong. People would criticize network marketing, and I would just fold like, yes, must be bad. If you say it's bad, it must be bad. Sometimes I think, I can't figure this out. It's just a form of distribution. What's so bad about it? Is retail bad? There are retailers who paint toys with lead paint, and the kids stick them in their mouth and they die. Isn't that bad? That doesn't make retailing bad. I mean, there are people who manufacture peanut butter and it's got salmonella in it and they keep it going. You know, that's kind of bad, but we don't say the food industry's bad. Well, we do. It is bad. But it just can't be that everything's bad. I mean, saying network marketing is bad and retailing is good is kind of like saying 8, now that's a good number. 7, that's bad. It's just a form of network marketing. I got news for you. Human nature is bad. People are bad. But products aren't bad. Networks aren't bad. Mathematics isn't bad. That's the language God used to create the universe. Who said that? Bach or somebody? Anyway, I can't remember. Too much work. So I thought, this has got to be wrong. There's something wrong about this. They're millionaires and I'm not. There's something bad about this. And I know them. I personally, it's one thing for someone to be a millionaire you don't know. That's okay. Well, he probably deserved it. But to meet a millionaire and look at them in flesh and blood and they're making $1 million in network marketing, there's something pretty evil about that. So Every idea goes through these stages. Number one, it's not true. Number two, it's true, but it's irrelevant. Number three, it's true and it's relevant, but it's wrong. Number four, and this is the last idea, last phase of any new idea. It's true, it's relevant, there's nothing wrong with it, but so what? It's been around forever. Now, those are the four phases of any new idea. And you are not yet at phase 4, which is how you make your money. It's why you have an opportunity. It's why you can sell. It's your secret to wealth. Nobody's at that stage where they can look at your product and say, so what, it's been around forever. You've got something to fit this marketplace at this time. A unique product that fits. But the real reason that I didn't want to get involved in network marketing, and I knew that I couldn't be successful at network marketing, and I knew that this whole thing would elude me, and that I would get very uncomfortable when they would keep repeating that over and over, you can do it too. The real reason that I felt so uncomfortable when a short little guy up on stage who didn't have a great education was telling me I could make $1 million in 1 year in network marketing. I agreed with him. I thought, I can. Yes, I can. But I won't. The real reason was fear. Fear of failure. Oh, I take that back. It wasn't fear of failure. It was certainty of failure. I just knew I wasn't going to do it. I don't know how I knew that. It was just an instinct. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. It's going to be like everything else I ever did in my life. I'll try it and then I'll give up. That's what I do. I try things and then I give up. I try and think, oh, that's too much for me. Back to World of Warcraft. I just can't do it. So I would like to do it, but I just can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I know me. You know you. You know your product. You know your company. You know your goals. I know me. I'm an authority on Doug Wead. He will not do this. He will not do this. I can't do this. I won't do this. I can do this, but I won't. I mean, it was the story of my life. I'll never forget when I was in high school, my counselor called me into his office. And he said, this is back before you were born. And he said, you know, in the Soviet Union, they can all speak several languages. And they think we in America are really dumb because we can only speak one language, American. And so, because of that, we're now requiring all of our high school students to learn a second language. So you're going to have to learn a second language. I thought, ooh. So he said, now, looking at your grades, I would recommend Spanish, because Spanish is the easiest language to learn. I would not take Latin, and I would not take Greek. I would take Spanish. I said, Spanish. He said, good decision. So he put that, good decision. Okay, we'll put you down for Spanish. I actually thought it'd be kind of cool. I would learn Spanish. Then when I got married, my wife and I, if we could speak Spanish, we could talk, and the kids wouldn't know what we were saying. I thought this would be kind of cool. And then I got to Spanish class, and I sat down in Spanish class, and the teacher got to the board, and she said, if you don't learn anything else, learn this. The only thing I learned in Spanish in 1 year was, yo no comprendo. And I don't know what that means. But that was the only thing I learned, because she put it up on the board and said, if you don't remember another thing, you don't remember this, yo no comprendo. So I was the kind of guy who was real good for the first 5 minutes of school. Then I'd kind of lose my attention, you know. Every school year I'd say, this year I'm going to do good, this year I'm going to do good, this year I'm going to concentrate, I'm going to make C's. I'm going to show my mom and dad what I can do. And I'd go to school, I'd get there, and I'd think, okay, I'm going to get good grades this year. But after about the first 5 minutes, I think, maybe next year. It was just so boring for me. Yes, let's cheer for ignorance. So, And that's this teacher, this Spanish teacher, she was saying, now I'm going to speak English today, but the rest of the year I'm going to speak in Spanish. So this is the last day I'll be speaking in English. Everything else I say in this class from now on out will be in Spanish, so listen very carefully to what I say today. I thought, wow, it must be the easiest language. I'm going to learn how to speak Spanish in one day. I thought, this is amazing. I think I can do this. I think I can do this if I can just concentrate for 24 hours. But I was not very good at Spanish. In fact, I sat next to a guy who was on the football team, and they used to cheat to help him pass so he wouldn't get suspended, so he'd be good on the football team. People would pass him papers, even in front of the teacher. Sometimes during a test, he would look over on my paper. And then he'd look at me like, God, you're dumber than I am. It was very humiliating to get bad grades, but I just couldn't do it. It's work. It's work. School's work. I couldn't work. I thought, the teacher would say, all right, I want you to read Silas Marner. I would get out of my pen, Silas Marner. I want to make sure I never, ever in my life read the book Silas Marner. Anything else? So I don't know. It was my upbringing. It was, I don't know, my DNA. It was something. It's not my fault. So I just wasn't a great student. I remember walking out of Spanish one day, and I was walking by this class, and they were in there on typewriters. Now, you don't know what a typewriter is, but it's kind of like a keyboard. Only instead of a screen, there are these metal things that pop up, and it's really, well, Google it, a typewriter. You'll see what it is. So they had a class on typewriters. I thought, this is amazing. They're sitting there with typewriters. I asked my counselor about that. I said, can you please tell me, do students actually take a course on typewriting and they get credit for it? That counts towards graduation? They're playing with a typewriter and they get credit towards graduation? He says, yes, absolutely. In fact, looking at your grades, I think you should probably take a course in typewriting because I think you're going to need it in life. I said, well, can I still get in? He said, well, they've already started. It's already 1 week. You'd be 1 week late. But I thought to myself, this would be great. I could use my fingers instead of my brain. I would love that. So he got me in. So I got into typewriting class. So after Spanish, I'd leave Spanish. I'd go to typewriting class and sit down and have my own typewriter. But everybody else had been there a week. So they weren't typing fast, but they were typing. So I come down, I sit, I get my own typewriter and everything. I thought, okay, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool. But I couldn't find the E. I'm thinking, where's the E? Why don't they put this in alphabetical order where you can find something? Where does E go? Mine does not have an E. Well, I don't know where it is. Well, it's not. So I start panicking because, the others aren't typing fast, but they're moving. And I haven't even punched the first letter. So I'm thinking, oh, this is going slow. Where is the E? So it's not on the top line. It's not, let me go to the back. It's not on the bottom line. Where does the E go? It's not in the middle. It's not in the middle. Ooh, and my heart is going like this. I'm thinking, I am not made for typing either. So I went to my counselor and I said, can I get out of this? And they got me out. It was annulled. It was like it never happened. I didn't get an incomplete. I didn't get an F. It was like you say to the Pope, hey, we didn't go all the way. And he said, okay. So it was like it never happened. So I never had typing. Whew, was close. I was the only kid at Fall Creek Grade School to get kicked out of band. It was because my counselor called me in. He said, in the Soviet Union, they all play musical instruments. All of their young people play musical instruments. And they all think we in America are real idiots because none of us can play a musical instrument. So now we have these new guidelines. Every student in the United States must now learn a musical instrument. I thought, oh, great. Thanks, Soviet Union. So he said, and looking at your grades here, I do not recommend the violin. And I would recommend for you the clarinet. That's the easiest musical instrument. I said, oh, okay, I hope it's easier in Spanish. So I thought the clarinet, okay. So I went home, I told my mom and dad, and they had to buy me a clarinet. You know, the government tells them you gotta, so they had to go buy a clarinet. Nothing's changed. So we get this clarinet, and it was kind of fun because you open it up and you get to build it. It's like Tinker Toys, you know. You put this thing here, and this goes into there, and you go and you build this little tower. That's your clarinet. And then at the top, you got a reed. And you tighten the reed like this, and you got to wet it down like this. Now you can play the clarinet, and it's true mathematically. There's fewer holes. How many mistakes can you make? There's just so many places you. I got to where I was kind of playing the clarinet a little bit, you know. The only problem with the clarinet is this. Depending on the position of your mouth with the reed, you can sometimes involuntarily leap 3 octaves at a moment's notice without any warning, because you control what octave you're in with the position of your mouth. So, now, there's a technical musical term for that. It's called a squeak. So I squeaked a lot. And the conductor and everybody would turn around and look. If you're playing a trombone, you can be off and you can recover. You can be sharp or you can be flat. Nobody really hears but you, and you can kind of bring it back in. But when you're playing a clarinet and you squeak, everybody in the whole band or orchestra turns around and they all look at you. So I got to where I was a very good actor. I wasn't a very good clarinet player, but I was a very good actor. So they always blamed the squeaking on somebody else because I looked confident. And there was a girl next to me, and she was really, really good at the clarinet. This is kind of the sort of thing you experience in network marketing, the unfairness. She was really good at the clarinet, but everybody thought she was the squeaker. She just kind of looked like a squeaker, you know? And I looked like I could play the clarinet. So I was the guy, and she would make faces to indicate that I was really the squeaker. But the more she tried to accuse me, the more guilty she appeared. And afterwards, she would just cry and say, I was here, and I didn't lie. You know, I'm a very religious person. I didn't lie. I was just kind of like Bill Clinton. I didn't tell him everything. Now I'm going to tell you something that this is not a part of my speech. This is just a little extra I'm offering to you. In case you've ever wondered in your experience in life, is there or is there not a God? Does God exist or does God not exist? I'm going to tell you how I can prove there's a God. You say, come on, this is a network where we're FFS, and now how you come up on it, you're talking about God? What's this about? This is an extra, just to tell you, it just so happened, coincidentally, in my lifetime, I stumbled across this, and I can prove there's a God. What happened is, on the dress rehearsal for parent night, just before the dress rehearsal for parent night, the band instructor learned that I was the squeaker. He was very angry, and he felt very bad to the little girl that got blamed for everything, and he was very angry at me. And he said, only one condition will you be allowed to play on parents' night, and that's if you don't actually play. You just act like you play. I don't want you to even make a sound on parents' night. And tonight at dress rehearsal, don't make a sound. I want you just to act like you're playing the clarinet. Only under those circumstances will you be allowed to play on parents' night. So I said, okay. So during the rehearsal, as we were playing, she squeaked. And the band instructor said, "Weed, you're out of here! You're out of here! Get out of here! Get out of here! You're out of band! You will not play on Parents' Night! Go, go, go!" So I took my little clarinet apart like I take your toy and put it, this goes in here. And I walked away, and I didn't get to play in Parent, and I was the only kid at Fall Creek Grade School it was traumatic, that got kicked out of band for squeaking, and I wasn't the squeaker. She was the squeaker, and I got kicked out. So, see, there is a God